Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and we're joined, as always, by our resident NBA expert, Jack Tiernan. Jack, how you doing?
And I'm good, thanks, man. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's hot as balls in Massachusetts right now. It's tough. I'm sweating pretty profusely, but we're gonna we're gonna get into this.
Power through. Power
Um,
through.
we're gonna power through, much like teams had to power through this season. That's actually the
So,
topic of the season, or of the. Well, I guess it was the topic of the season, but more specifically, the topic of this episode. Jack, there's been a lot of discussion online that having a full season after in shortened off season was maybe not the move. What are your thoughts on doing a full 82 game season after such a short period of time, just generally, and then we can talk more specifically on how it's affected things going forward.
yeah, that's a good lead in, Brian. Personally, I don't think a full season should have happened
Mm,
as closely adjacent to the previous season that already went over by months.
yes.
Um, because just for conditioning for these dudes, their bodies aren't built for this. They're
Mm,
built for the 82 game season and then 3, 4 months in the off season just to have some time to recoup, recover, back to the fundamentals, etc.
mm.
Um, I don't love it. I don't love it. And I think we're paying the price for it now in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, not only the playoffs, we saw stretches of the season where teams are just missing stars. Obviously, the Lakers
Yeah,
faced that, and it came down to the end. But there's been others, and I guess of late, like you said, in the playoffs, we've seen injuries, and I guess how do you think this season, or how do you think those injuries have affected the playoffs, and then I guess the season broader? Would we have had the expected matchup of Lakers and Nets had this season, not been kind of weird?
that's fair. This season was very weird, I think. I'd go as far to say. I don't know. I think from a playoff landscape perspective, I think we would be looking at a little bit of a
Mm,
different setup here. I don't know how much so, and I don't want to discredit any of the success that some of these teams have had, like the New York Knicks,
right.
for example. Especially the Atlanta Hawks, for example. Nobody saw these guys coming into the Eastern Conference Finals and being tied right now 2-2 against the Bucks,
Mm-hmm.
at least at the time of recording this.
Yes.
Um, so we can touch on that series later too because of some injuries that have gone on. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, man, I don't know. Like you do look at the Nets and you have to wonder, okay, like would James Harden have been as hurt as he was if he wasn't carrying the load for Houston the entirety of the beginning of the season and the end of last season? Um, Look at Kyrie, who whether or not this is more of an injury of like just his personality in the locker room,
Right.
or if it actually a physical injury.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of dudes who are good players. Joel Embiid was hobbled. It just Jamal Murray. The Nuggets aren't even in the playoffs anymore. Like
Yeah.
you go back and you have to think about, okay, what would have happened if we had an extra month to just recover?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the playoff landscape be different? I think yes, I really do. I think for guys like LeBron, especially, and Kawhi, who's a pretty broken down dude already, who was taking time off for load management 3 years ago, right?
Right.
Um, it's tough to say if they had an extra month to recover, would they be in better game shape right now, and would they still be? Well, would they being LeBron, I guess, still be in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the NBA is kicking themselves. Obviously, it's great to get the revenue of the 82 games. I mean, it's more television revenue this season because there weren't many, if any, in-game or in-person regular seasons games. But then, going into the playoffs, losing stars hurts the playoffs more than anything because this is really the time where, like, when you think of LeBron, you think of like deep playoff runs. You think of incredible moments that he's had on winning and losing side, just being a part of like the NBA narrative. And I don't think that it's like entirely fair to the teams that are still in there. They're certainly like great players, if not household names, but I do think the NBA would prefer to have bigger market teams and prefer especially to have people like LeBron James still alive in the playoffs. And we can't even escape from the teams that we have. Like, talk a little bit about the injuries that the remaining
I
teams have sustained.
Yeah, exactly. So we're looking at just the two teams that are playing on Thursday night, which would be the Bucks and the Hawks. Yeah, Trae Young out with a bone bruise, where that wasn't so much of a durability thing. That was just kind of a freak injury.
Right.
Or he stepped on the ref's foot, right, and just ate it pretty much. There's Giannis, who hyperextended his left knee, and I believe that he avoided structural damage, so he should be fine. But, like, for the NBA, as some dude who they market as much as Giannis, that's a horrible thing to happen if he goes down. Because you already lost guys from cool teams like the Nuggets. Again, Jamal Murray, would they be further in the playoffs right now if he didn't go down with an ACL injury?
Right.
And LeBron being hobbled, Harden being hobbled, again, like the same guys that are just hurt. And I don't think the NBA is losing revenue necessarily, but it certainly would be more exciting to, as you alluded to, like a Nets-Lakers finals, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they could get a New York versus LA finals, the NBA would do it every year. But
yeah.
So, hey, at least we can probably say the NBA is no longer under, like, fixing accusations at this point.
For sure.
Like, this is not what they would have wanted. But, yeah, I guess transitioning from that, let's just talk about what we've seen so far. Obviously, at the time of recording, we're recording Wednesday night at 9:51. Right now, the Eastern Conference Finals is tied 2-2. Well, the Western Conference, Phoenix is up 3-2. But they're playing Game 6 as we speak, and right this very second, Phoenix is up by 10 points. So, I guess, what are your thoughts on those two series so far?
Yeah, so let's touch on the live one first, right? So you've got the Clippers versus the Suns, and you have the Suns' big three. I use that, let's say big three light, where it's Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Devin Booker. Where I don't know if you could say that they're a big three, but they are definitely the big three to that team. I think you can call anyone a big three after you have Harden, KD, and Kyrie on a team together. But anyway, I think Suns are everybody is rooting for the Suns right now. I don't think anybody really wants to see them lose aside from maybe LA fans.
Right.
But you look at how those three guys have performed. They've all had off nights. DeAndre Ayton has really picked up some slack this series for D-Book and CP3 when he was out at the beginning of the season or the series. But I think the MVP of this series has to go to Paul George 110%, who's picked up the weight and the slack of Kawhi being out. And just really, I know everybody was giving him shit last year for being pandemic P because he was playoff P, when in reality he looked pretty much sickly out there. And now he's on another level again. He's Paul George of the Indiana Pacers, pretty much with the Clippers uniform on. So it's a sick series to watch. Paul George putting that team on his back for the most part. Boogie Cousins getting some meaningful minutes again. The ghost of Boogie Cousins, I guess.
Still in the league. Who knew?
No. He's been like the third superstar for like three teams the last 3 years. So who knows with that dude.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a heck of a beginning of his career with the Kings, but after that, it kind of disappeared.
For real. And I think lastly with these guys, it would be really poetic for the Clippers to come back from down 3-1, right? Because RIP Denver Nuggets, but that would have been kind of poetic justice in a way. I'm rooting for the Suns. I think the Suns probably have this in the bag. I think there's only so much Paul George can do. And when you have three guys on the Suns that can go off pretty much at any point, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, I think I've even said on the show, maybe, I don't know what conversations I have in real life versus on recording at this point with all the various things that I'm recording lately, but I believe I said that I want the Suns to win. If not, this is me saying.
You definitely have. Oh, yeah.
I would like Chris Paul to win a championship before it's all over for him, and I think on a weird, wacky year like this one, this could be it. I mean, stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah, seriously. I'm just glad he's back, man.
I did see a funny tweet during Game 1. The announcers were really laying it on heavy, like, oh, his absence is so needed, and so it's like they're acting like Chris Paul taught everyone else how to play basketball.
Yeah, for real.
Like he's not dead, guys. He's gonna be okay.
Chill. He's still around. He'll be back in 3 days. Like, relax, guys. You're fine. It's okay. I mean, You're right. DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker know how to play basketball, believe it or not. So it's like, they're okay. And they
Right.
were, case in point.
Mm. Oh man. So yeah, we'll see. Right now it's 46-40. Halfway through
Who's catching up? Uh-oh.
the we'll see what happens. But I guess do you? Well, you said your prediction is the Suns will win this series.
So
What about in the Eastern Conference? Who are you thinking is going to pull this out?
this is tough. I would like to see. I know Trae Young is out for Game 5, I believe. Oh no, I'm sorry. He was out for Game 4 yesterday. I don't know what his status or Giannis's status will be for Game 5. So I think that really comes up to the supplementary guys.
Yeah.
That's a toss up to me. You've got guys like PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday that could all step up for the Bucks. Ironically, when everyone was saying Giannis who after he went down and Chris Middleton went off, he sucked the next game. So I don't know if he can do it. He certainly has the capabilities and abilities to do it. And then you look to the Hawks, and you've got guys who can shoot the lights out, and dudes who crash the boards like Clint Capella, Danilo Gallinari, right? Kevin Herter. You've got some dudes that can all go off, but I mean, it's really going to be a matter of who can do what better.
Right.
I think the Bucks have good perimeter defense, though, so I could see them running away with this if Giannis misses extended time. But I think it really depends on what star comes back first. Those guys can each put up 40 a night,
Right. So we'll keep an eye on that, and then obviously next week after we actually have the locked in matchup for the finals, we'll do a preview episode on that. Latest it could go is Monday the 5th. That's when a Game 7 for the Hawks and Bucks would be if needed. Which, yeah, it might be needed.
Could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
So we'll see what happens there, considering it's tied 2-2 now. So, yeah. Anything else you want to touch on before we get on out of here?
Well, I think let's talk. I want to hear your prediction for this too. If you had to pick a team right now to win it all in the NBA Finals, who do you think has the capability to do it? I know that's tough, right? But
I mean, I gotta stay with the Suns, right? I can't waver. I think that would make me look bad. I've locked it in a week ago. I gotta stick with the Suns, and if I go down, I go down. But I think the sun in real life is real hot right now. Maybe they can channel
I like that
in the NBA. We'll see.
I think you're right. I think I'm gonna actually stick with you on the Suns too. I think they've got the best all around team ball, and I think it shows. So hopefully we don't look like idiots in 2 weeks, right? We'll see.
I always way back in the day when I used to play NBA, probably 2K8. I would always pick the Suns because they were so it was at the same time where they got Shaq and they had Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash, and in that game they were unstoppable. So
filthy. That sounds like lobs for days.
Yeah, it was just such a cheat code to play with that team. So I have such a soft spot in my heart for the Suns.
Blame you. Don't blame me one bit.
I'm sure our listeners did not care about my childhood NBA 2K stories, but hey, it is what it is. That's the
Giannis doesn't either, though. We'll see.
Right when we're about to sign off, it's now 48-45 Clippers. So
okay,
Suns, come on, you're making me look bad.
I know.
Oh man. All right, Jack. Where can they find you online?
You guys can find me at Twitter, Jack_Tiernan. All my NBA takes, especially Celtics, will be on there for sure.
Awesome. You can find me on Twitter at @TheFakeBeatBar. That's BMARR. Main channel is youtube.com/WickedGoodEverything. This channel is Wicked Good Sports. Help us get to 100 subscribers, and then we can have the custom URL. For now, it's just youtube.com/tons of random characters. It's not great. We want the real thing. So yeah, please subscribe for that. Check us out on Twitter at WGEverything, on Instagram at WickedGoodEverything, on Twitch at twitch.tv/WickedGoodEverything, and on TikTok, search Wicked Good Everything. We will see you in the next one.